Your relationships, they're not happening to you, but they are reflecting something within you. And the moment you can really understand this, everything around you begins to shift because it's not about controlling the other person. It is about witnessing what gets activated inside of you. And so, if this resonates, follow along. This is the work we're doing here, not fixing others, but coming home to ourselves. And yesterday, I did a transmission or a talk on self concept. And this really blends right into this whole idea or understanding about relationships and all the relationships around us. You know, um, I think one of the most important things for us to really embody and embrace is this simple fact that everyone is living inside of their own experience at all times, that everyone outside of you has their own beliefs. They have their own wounds. They have their own nervous system patterns and conditioning. And the more that we can understand that, the easier it is for our ego to take a back seat. And that's really what this work is, you know? People are going to trigger you, but they're not doing it to you. And there's a clear distinction in that. See, no one is responding to you. What they're doing is the same as you. They're responding from their internal world. And most of us are doing this in a very unconscious way. So it feels like we are the victim, that people are always trying to hurt us. But really, what's underneath that is not that they're trying to hurt us, but what is it causing within us? Because it's never the consequence of somebody else. And you can take something pretty benign, like a traffic jam or somebody cutting you off. And we instantly assume, based on our own beliefs and our own conditioning, that other person was wrong and disrespectful. And how could they not see me? But the reality is, they're having their own lived experience. And it's highly unlikely that they did it on purpose, let alone it's unlikely at all that they did it to you. And so we are constantly getting this feedback, and it really is a beautiful thing. You know, I talk a lot about we create our own world and how beautiful that is. And this is the same, because if you can truly embrace and understand the mirrors around you, all of your relationships start to shift because you shift, because we are always coming from our state. And if we can change our state, then we can change our expression of that simply by witnessing. And so when you feel triggered, and hear this with the most gentle and loving tone that I can possibly provide to you, it's not about them. When you're triggered, it's not about them. It is about what is being activated within you. And really let that land. And if you're instantly coming at that thought like this, that's the ego trying to defend and hold so proudly and tightly to the fact that it is them. And if you want to continue to believe that it is them, then it will continue to interfere with your life. Because how we feel about anything is how we feel about everything. And if we can begin to really understand that we do have authorship over how we feel, that we do not need to respond to every thought, that our thoughts are based on our own belief systems and our own, nervous system and our own wounds and our own, the way that we were raised. And so we're suggesting that these are the truth. and that everyone else should shift based on our own truths. Wow. It's actually quite egotistical when you really think about it. And I say that with so much love, because the minute that we can fully understand this and embrace this and want to seek something differently, our relationships shift. And it's okay if you don't believe me, but try it on. Try it on. You know, when you're triggered, it's not about them, it's about what's happening inside of you. And see, because the ego is going to perceive threat when identity is challenged. And this goes back to the self concept yesterday. Self concept is your identity. And this is what creates reactivity. And so, again, take it for the car. Somebody cuts you off and you think, wow, they're so disrespectful. How could they not see me? But then witness that. That is a pure reaction because somebody didn't do something that you thought they should do. I mean, that's really where so much strife and chaos comes. That's where all this trolling on the internet, that's where all this hate comes from, is somebody is not doing what we think they should do based on our own beliefs. But they have their own beliefs too. They have their own wounds, they have their own nervous system programming and patterns. And so it is not them doing it to you, but it is activating something within you. And again, that's where this ego really perpetuates and creates this reactivity. And when we are in reactivity, we lose the ability to choose. And that's what this is all about. Reactivity is a nervous system response. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it true. And when you can really, really embrace that, and I know it's hard because the ego is going to tell you about me, and it's cool, it's okay. But understanding this is just such freedom for you. You know, I talk about this all the time. Would you rather be right or would you rather be free? Because the ego wants you to be right, but the soul wants you to be free. And when we're talking about self-concept, right, it really shapes how we interpret others. And that thought, that stream, that narration is, what does this mean about me? It's always running there underneath all of that. Self-concept, the more that we can understand our self-concept and work to actively shift it to who we want to be, the shifts happen. They can't not. They can't not. And it's such a beautiful thing. God, this is not manipulation to be able to really shift the relationships around you, because you're shifting it from sovereignty. You're shifting it from authenticity. You're shifting it from truth. And so, thus, everything outside of you shifts as well. When your state changes, everything changes. Our brains, they're a receptor, right? And so everything we feel, others can feel. That's real. When people say, I feel you, that is real. They feel our energy, same as we feel theirs. And so another really beautiful point is, think about your life. Think about any relationship in your life, because we're talking about relationships. So think about the most stressful relationship. And a lot of times it happens to be our partners, because they're the ones that activate us the most, right? But just take, it could be your parents, it could be your child, it could be, people at work, and just kind of bring up a couple of these, challenging relationships. And I think you're probably already ready to kind of fight back, right? Even not intentionally, but hold on a second, because I'm going to say something here, and it may trigger you, and that's okay, because if it does, then this is even more important for you. This work is even more important for you, because you're existing in chaos when there could be peace and space and love. And so go back to the relationships that are challenging for you and try this on. You are the common denominator in every experience, not as blame, but as power. Think about every area of your life that you don't like right now. And wherein in it are you not the common denominator? And this is so beautiful because if when you can fully understand that you have created everything because you are the common denominator in your life, now you get to use this as power to consciously shift, to reorganize your life. You know, you can't think your way out of a new life. And it's not about doing, it is about the being. Being. It's so beautiful. The moment you witness, instead of attach, you interrupt these patterns. You create space. You now have authorship, autonomy to choose. To choose. And so we manifest based on the attachment of our thoughts. Most of us are doing this very unconsciously, but what if you did it consciously? What if you were the blue sky and realized those clouds, that narration in your head that is passing, they're not yours. They've been collected. And what grows is only what you give your attention to. So why not give attention to love? Why not give attention to you? Why not give attention to your self-concept? Everything will shift. If you don't believe me, try it on. What do you have to lose? You're still here listening, right? And so when we don't attach to it, it can't solidify into conflict, which is most of our relationship issues, which is actually all the issues within ourselves, is that conflict within. And it's because we are attaching to all of these beliefs, all of these traumas, all of these wounds. And now listen, I am an energy healer. I do astrology. I have done so much clearing in my past. But here's the thing. What has catapulted me the most is this work. Because these thoughts will continue and you will continue to seek something outside of you. More courses, more Reiki, more meditation, more, whatever it is, more. And the reality is those are wonderful and beautiful. And you have it all within, so they can enhance it, but it has to come from within. It has to come from the you. And so I'll share just a little bit of a personal story that happened just last night. Yesterday, I had a moment with my wife where I said something from a very loving place, and it wasn't received that way. And I felt this like really familiar sensation of like hurt starting to rise. And instead of becoming it, I witnessed it and I noticed it and I kind of smiled at it. And I was like, oh, that's the feeling, right? And in that space that I created, because I didn't react, I simply noticed, I didn't attach to it. It didn't make it mean something. And because of that, it didn't become a problem. It just simply passed. And I laughed just a little because it's okay. We're both having our own experience. There was nothing intentional about this. So often our feelings get hurt and we put it on the other person. Why? Deal with your own hurt. Don't attach to it. It is so freaking simple, and I get that it's not easy, but this is the practice. This is the work. And this is why I say try it on. I didn't come to that realization yesterday just in a flash like that, because I've been working on this, because I've tried it on, because I understand how, and this is a life's work, right? I'm not ever going to be healed of all of my traumas or triggers or reactions. But even just this morning, I felt that reaction arise. And I know it's my nervous system feeling unsafe. And I know it was bumping up against something that I've previously held as truth. And and when I witnessed it and when I sent it love and compassion and gave it away, it disappeared. And so think about what would happen when we give it our attention. It makes us crazy up here because these thoughts are consistent. They're constantly happening. The narration is happening. You might be having it right now thinking to yourself, well, I'm batshit crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe that's true. That's okay. You're coming from your own journey as well. But what do you have to lose by trying this on? Don't you want better relationships in your life? Don't you want to be more peaceful? Don't you want autonomy? We all seek autonomy and choice and control. And here it is. Here it is. This is the only choice that in control that you truly have is the authorship over you. And so if you've ever felt triggered in a relationship, don't just believe me. Try this on. So many of us read books, we follow TikTok, we do all of these things. But if we don't actually try it on, it means nothing. It just falls. It falls on us like rain. Consume it. Try it on. I will continue to talk about this because when you can fully witness a thought, the power that you feel is immense. And you think, wow, this is it. This is it. This is how I shift my life. It's not another course. It's not anything outside of myself. I am the self. It is me. Become the sky. And so let's have a practice because we have to try it on, right? The next time you feel activated, instead of saying, I am hurt, I am angry, try this on. I notice hurt is present. I notice something is being activated in me. I notice this fear. And then ask yourself, what expectation did I have here? Because that one's huge. It is most often the expectation that we had for somebody else to conduct themselves in the exact way with which we intend. Ask yourself, what story is my mind trying to narrate, trying to create? And can I let it be? Can I let it go? The Sedona method is huge with this. Can I let it go? Can I let it just be without attaching meaning? Just for a moment. And simply witness it. And just witness it. When you master, and maybe it's not even master, but when you practice just putting space between your thoughts, and I'll share a little bit more about this because it is wonderful experience when you can just drop a thought just like that. It's power, it's choice, it's autonomy. It's allowing you to continue to speak from your most sovereign, authentic self. And it is a practice. And it is a practice. It is a daily practice of showing up again and again for yourself, for you, not for anybody else. Everyone else shifts because of it, but it's not for you, And again, remind yourself, what expectation did I have here? Because that's where it all evolves from. Mostly is our expectation of somebody conducting or doing something in the way that we want. I mean, think about it in the political lens. Go ahead just for a second. Everyone's coming from their own beliefs, cultures, programming. What makes you right? Nothing. It's just your opinion. And so what expectations do you have? Leave it alone. Let it go. The more you attach to it, the more it only creates chaos in your life. And it's what you manifest. So you don't need to control the relationship. You regulate your nervous system and your reality shifts. And when you stop reacting, when you create that space, you stop the reinforcing of these old patterns so that you can shift. This is how identity, your self-concept, shifts in real time. And this is how relationships transform without force. Don't you want that? This is what we all seek, isn't it? And we can have it when we pause the ego, when we don't attach to our thoughts. Your relationships will change. when the way you relate to yourself changes. And it's not by controlling others, but by witnessing what arises within you. Because not everything that comes up needs to be acted on. Awareness is the shift. And if this landed for you, follow along, like, comment. This is the work. This is the practice. And if you want to go deeper into this work, into your nervous system, your patterns, your identity, my other deeper teachings are linked. And I'm creating a whole ecosystem where all of this can exist and that we can really come together, because I am determined to share this with as many people as I can, because you don't need anything more outside of you. You don't. Think about that. You are what you need. And when you can understand that you are not your thoughts, you are the witnesser, you are the observer, everything shifts. But for now, if you don't believe me, try it on. Until next time, cheers.